if let's see. Oh, there he is. Joining me at this time is a referee. He is a talk show host, and he's one of my good friends. Goes by the name of Sign Guy. He's with me right now. Good evening, sir.
Kenny, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. I am about to enjoy this Easter weekend. I'm off all weekend long. And not only that, I'm caught up with all the interviews that I know a lot of people have been waiting for me to upload. So I got them all done. So I'm good. I'm energized. I'm looking forward to the weekend. And as always, son guy, anytime I need you, whether it's a guest to be on or you to call in, you always come through. I can't thank you enough, and I'm going to keep thanking you for as long as I'm doing this radio thing. Thank you so much for all you do.
My pleasure, Kenny. You do a great job, and I was just listening to a bunch of the interviews that you posted in the last couple of days.
And I got the interview posted with Lance Dean, who you sent to have me interview. Very cool dude. Um, he's only been wrestling for about a good 8 9 months, and looks like he's on the right path as far as his progression. So I wish him well. He's things are looking up for him.
He's progressed a lot since he first started. He has gained a lot of confidence. His skills are a lot sharper now. He's working very hard. I think Lance Dean's going to be really good before too long, and he's teaming with a guy by the name of J.D. Moonshine, who in the last 3 years or so that I've been watching him has gone from someone with minimal skills in the ring to someone that is very, very solid. He's gotten phenomenally better. So I think teaming with him going to help him progress, and I think Lance Dean's got a bright future.
Definitely looking forward to see what else he has in store. And we definitely gonna get to your show. Gonna get to your up and coming wrestling events in a matter of moments. Considering that this is the WrestleMania recap show, and you are the first guest that I have on, I want to ask you, um, what are your thoughts on WrestleMania this past Sunday? Did you left being satisfied? Did you left wanting a little bit more? Did you left being disappointed? Like, what was your take from WrestleMania this past Sunday?
Personally, for me, I thought it was a good, solid show, but not phenomenal in a lot of places. A lot of the things that happened, I really, really liked. There were things on there that I did not agree with how they presented it. Didn't really care for a few of the segments, but very solid show overall, and a couple of things that I didn't like so much when I rewatched it a day or two later. I actually liked it a little bit better the second time around, so sometimes the show grows on me if I watch it a couple times, but I definitely enjoyed it, but wasn't my all-time favorite WrestleMania, but definitely enjoyed it. It was solid.
Well, when I got had a chance to watch it again myself, probably 2 days after it, and I guess I still had the same feeling that I did when I first watched it. That may have been one of my favorite WrestleManias in a long time, and probably since the one in Arizona with Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. I think that turned out to be not Undertaker, but Shawn Michaels' last match. Another WrestleMania that I enjoyed was the one with the ladder matches between the Dudleys, the Hardys, and Edge and Christian. I left things. I enjoyed it, and like you said, there were some parts that I didn't like. I don't like watching 15 minutes of a guy who we signed with the company and all he does is suplexes. Uh, I mean, that comes a point of, I'm just gonna go and say it. He's a one-trick pony to me, this Brock Lesnar guy, and I'm happy. I'm the only thing I'm happy for him is that he made a decision instead of hearing it from uh, the blogs and the message boards and the rumor mills. That's probably the main thing I disliked about it. You got a guy like Roman Reigns who looks promising, and you have him paired with a guy who does suplexes. It works for him, and his crowd starting to grow on him, I guess. But that's just me. I left being satisfied. I just didn't like that fact that Roman Reigns' big moment just and people it was all about the guy doing suplexes.
Uh, See, I like the main event. Granted, he throws an insane amount of suplexes in a given match,
Yeah.
but given his amateur background, not too surprising.
Yeah.
A lot of the amateur guys tend to rely on suplexes a lot in the professional ranks because it's something they incorporated from their beginnings in amateur. But I thought it was a really solid main event. Both of them worked hard in there. It really surprised me that it was as bloody as it was. There was a lot of blood in that match, and you don't see that too often anymore in a WWE match. And the main disappointment I had with the main event was not so much Seth Rollins coming out of the show with the title, but changing the dynamic of the match partway through it and turning it from one-on-one to a three-way when they had gone that long. It just wasn't what I would have done. It wasn't my personal preference on it. I understand that's who they wanted to go with and that's who the champion was going to be, but I think I would have preferred it if he had won it cleanly off either Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar, either one. I think it would have meant more to him rather than changing the entire structure of the main event of WrestleMania midway through it. I don't think that's ever been done before.
You're absolutely right, and the Money in the Bank concept debut at WrestleMania, and how ironic about a decade later it's been cashed in on WrestleMania for the first time ever. I have no problems with Seth Rollins winning the championship, considering the guy every week calls himself the future. Eventually, you're going to have to start living up to it. I'm happy for him, considering that the man comes from Iowa, of all places. And it shows that you don't have to come from a big state or big city such as New York or Florida or California to be at the position that he is. The man has worked hard from his days with the Shield and now as an individual competitor starting to evolve, if you will. And you're right, man, that changed the landscape. I didn't think it was possible that a guy can turn the main event into a triple threat match. But I guess as the Money in the Bank rule states, you can cash in the briefcase any place, anywhere, anytime. I guess anytime means that you can cash it in during the main event of the WrestleMania match. So, I guess a lot of people weren't quite thrilled with how Seth decided to turn it into a triple threat match, but I guess that's WWE's prerogative. That was the choice they wanted to go with, considering on numerous occasions we usually see the briefcase cash in after the match. It was very gutsy of Seth to cash in during the match, but considering the two guys did bit the heck out of each other, and both were bloody, Seth took a chance and took a gamble, and it paid off for him, I guess. Um, I also want to get into Triple H and Sting for a moment. I mean, to me, I'm shocked that Sting even wanted to be a part of WWE. Period. Given that it's a temporary basis for him, because we know that he's getting there at age, and Father Time catches up with us all. Um, I'm shocked that they were able to get the original members of DX and the original members of the NWO at the same time. Like, I get it, it's 15, 14 years after the Monday Night Wars, but WWE just has a way of making the impossible possible. That got me off my seat. I guess I got off my seat more for NWO than DX, but I find it odd that NWO came to the aid for Sting, given that NWO had their differences with Sting in the past. And I don't recall Sting being affiliated with the Black and White. He was more with the Red and Black, the Wolfpack. But that's here no there. I guess that's my 2 cents in that regard.
I agree with you 100%. That's the main thing that baffled me, because I always like to look for the logic in things when I'm watching wrestling. I mean, sometimes it's a stretch to get things to make perfect sense, but I like it to at least have a reasonable explanation, and it just did not make sense to me that the original NWO, who had a mission statement of destroying WCW from within and declare themselves separate from WCW for their whole existence, and whom Sting feuded with for 2 years, would come down to assist Sting in the name of WCW. I understand that you had members of their Generation X, and you had members of the NWO, and for the nostalgia factor, it'd be a cool visual to have everyone out there, but logic-wise, it just didn't make sense, and I was trying to figure out why they would do that more than I was thinking, hey, well, it's two of the biggest factions in wrestling history all there at the same match. Plus, it took me by surprise. All of a sudden, it was a no disqualification match, and all things were legal, and they were bringing out weapons, and people were interfering left and right. I would have preferred a more traditional one-on-one match, but Sting definitely looked a lot better than I anticipated, because when he did his last few matches with TNA, he just did not look like the Sting of old. He had slowed down considerably. He had no spring when he gave a drop kick. His drop kicks were really low on people, and I was a little worried how he would be physically for the match, but he seems to have worked out quite a bit, was able to hit everything pretty crisply, and looked significantly better than the last time he was on TNA's television.
For Sting, I guess it helps that he looks pretty good, considering he hasn't had a match since TNA in about a couple of years now. As far as Sting, like, I didn't know how he was gonna look. I didn't know how he was gonna be able to pull off, because you got Triple H always in the gym, always in good shape, and let me just say, I've always tell my friends Andrew and Jonathan and Damian when I watch these WrestleManias, and that it's a spectacle. It's all about presentation when it comes to those entrances. And Triple H, I think he topped himself yet again with that Terminator-esque entrance and Arnold Schwarzenegger making it being a part of the entrance, if you will, and considering it was Triple H that did induct Arnold into the celebrity wing of the Hall of Fame. But I like Triple H's interest a lot. I thought it was well produced. I thought that it was just dead on. I think it may be Triple H's greatest WrestleMania entrance ever. I don't know, man. Maybe it's the Terminator fan in me or Arnold fan in me, but I was impressed with the entrance, just the presentation from it.
His entrance actually had an entrance because they did a whole video sequence to set up the live entrance. I've never seen an entrance for an entrance before.
That's a good point. I mean, but hey,